All right, my name is Tom Holt, and how did I get to Trinity I was literally born here 64 years ago, just about 2 blocks from here. And I've grown up in this church my whole life, and there's reasons for that, but we're going to get to that in a minute. We're going to let Robin talk about how she got here.
I married Tom Holt. My name's Robin, and when Tom and I married, we came to Trinity and became very actively involved immediately with youth, and we have been here ever since, and that would be a long time. I'm not going to say how many years, but I married a Methodist, so I ended up here, and I'm glad I did.
You know, we're talking about stewardship, so the one thing that I go to is in the 5th grade, my mother used to teach 5th grade Sunday school, and she would play "This Is My Father's World" every Sunday. We had to sing that song. And so what that makes me think of is we talked about love, and that was what was the most important thing about anything that Jesus told any of us to do, was to love thy neighbor. And the one of the things that Mother taught was love that neighbor, whether that person was a Methodist, a Baptist, a nothing. It was to reach out into the world, and we as a church don't own a church. We as a church are the church. And I think that would be, if anything came from Gene Holt, it would be reach out and touch and love people regardless where they are, regardless of what they're doing. And that would be the thing that I would say about stewardship is money's important, the buildings are important, but actually the number one thing that's the most important is love. And I think that's what I grew up with on both sides. My dad, who was a pretty serious guy, and my mom both loved people, whether they were red or yellow, black or white. They reached out and they would try to bring them into this church to meet Jesus. And I think that's what we're supposed to be all about.
I learned a lot from my parents as well about generosity, and my parents were my teachers in terms of servant leadership. Both of my parents served in roles at the church that were significant. They were not traditional. My mother and dad started a bus ministry at our church, and the idea was, as Gene and Hugh did, to reach out into the community and bring people to Jesus. And they truly had servant hearts. I went with my mom and dad every Saturday for the bus ministry to meet children in the neighborhood and invite them to come to church and Sunday school. And then on Sunday, we drove a bus around the neighborhood and picked up these children and brought them to church. And that's significant to me because I believe it's important that parents role model what they want to teach their children, and that is serving is important, and that was how my parents chose to serve, but they taught me service through that. And I think stewardship is yes, it's about the money, but we also as Methodists pledge to give our time and our talents, and our children learn that from us. So it is important and significant that we as church adults and leaders teach our children to be servants and to have servant hearts and to lead as servants.